So the folks at DesignBuildBLUFF are awesome. And I'm very excited to have involvement with the organization. We have Hiroko, who's like one of the lead instructors for the build. We have Adrienne Caesar, who's a past Yestermorrow intern and alumni and is a volunteer there now. And Perry Martin, who's a student. And Carmi Holguin is involved with the program as well as I believe is the CDC Founder and Manager. Is that right? Awesome. Welcome. Awesome. So they have a little presentation. They're going to do their own more in-depth introductions before the presentation. But as the presentation goes on, feel free to ask your questions as they come up. Just blast them in the chat or the Q&A, and then at the end they'll answer and field all of the questions. So I'll let you guys give a little bit more of an introduction.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Hiroko Yamamoto, and I'm one of the instructor of DesignBuildBLUFF. And actually, originally I came from Japan, and I moved to BLUFF 7 years ago. And now I'm running this program with my husband, Atsushi Yamamoto. Thank you.
My name is Adrienne. I'm from Massachusetts. I came here from Yestermorrow Design Build School, like Rachel mentioned. And I arrived here last year to volunteer on the 2019 Silver Slice project. And now I'm staying on board to assist with the project that we're really excited to share with you tonight called Next eLead Initiative, which Carmi will talk more about.
My name is Perry. I am a graduate 2 student at the University of Utah. I am from Utah, and I am super excited to present our project to everyone.
Hello, my name is Carmi Holguin. I'm from the Navajo Nation here in Arizona. I am the founder of Next eLead Initiative. Next eLead, it means rainbow in Navajo, and we want to represent people from all over the world. We're collaborating with DesignBuildBLUFF Bill and their student architectural engineering program to design homes for our program. And we're hoping to build a sustainable economic development here with the project that we're trying to initiate here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Are you ready to get the video started?
Yeah, so we're all set. I just want to preface the video by saying, maybe already many of you know that we live in a rural area, so our internet connection is not always the strongest. So we've decided to put together a pre-recorded presentation to play for you now, and then we'll answer questions afterwards. So let me just get that started. Oh, and yes, we have also included some video throughout the presentation. You might need to adjust your volume for the video portion just to hear it better.
Hello, I will introduce this year's team. It's a little difficult to understand who is who because we are wearing masks this year. But you can see the students, home recipient family, and the donors. Everyone is hard workers. First, I would like to introduce our program based on last year's project video. I hope you enjoy it.
We kind of came in, we were all timid with the tools and the materials, and now we feel very comfortable around them.
I didn't know anything about construction, and I think that's what the field is lacking, is that architects draw in the office and they don't really know how things are put together.
We still have a lot to learn, and I think that's what's exciting about the process, is just being able to learn something new every day.
We learned a lot about how to deal with, different cultures and different types of people, and how you really have to take into their accounts, like their perspectives.
With our client, Brenda, she really wants to provide a home for her son. We just want to help with that. And that's also why the whole working together and compromising with her is really important.
Rachel, are you ready? Yeah.
Walls are up, windows are in, we're moving faster than previous years. It's really empowering, we're doing this and it's happening, and the end is not in sight yet, but there is an end and we'll get there.
It is actually really great to live here, and I wasn't expecting that. And so being in this environment is actually, I think, brought the best out of me, and I'm more confident when it comes to outdoor stuff, and then also construction.
Like, it's beautiful coming to the site every morning and then leaving it, like coming for the sunrise and the sunset every day. That's been amazing. So even though the day, like every single day something went wrong on site, we're in such a beautiful place. I've become more of a calm person because of how challenging this has been.
Come on in. So we're just finishing up, putting the final touches on things.
Oh my gosh. My plants are in. Wow, this is actually my house looking wonderful. It's amazing, ladies.
It feels so good to be done, and I feel like Reese Witherspoon. I want to like toss my hat and be like, we did it.
We started with 50,000 pounds of material sitting on the ground over there, and now it's, you know, put together into a home. My biggest hope from doing this is that not only have you handed her a house, but I hope that it's durable enough that it's going to last a long time.
And maybe potentially the house being passed on to future generations.
I've been waiting for this for many years, just having a place to call my own. This is it. This is it. Beautiful. Beautiful work, beautiful home. And it's mine. My house. I can't wait to move in.
I hope you enjoyed the film. This is our location, Bluff, Utah. Bluff is a small, beautiful town in Pocona area. Population is about 200, and also it's located north edge of Navajo Nation. This is a Bluff town. You can see the hill behind the photo. Beyond the hill, that is Navajo Nation. San Juan River runs in front of the hill. This is a DesignBuildBLUFF campus. I took this photo from a balloon. We live and learn together in here. You can see several buildings, and some of the buildings are our previous work. Students commute to the site like this every day. Many are not paved road, so it is not easy to carry materials. But it is still nice to see such a beautiful view every day. For the Navajo reservation, this orange circle is a range we can commute every day. The site is set within an hour drive from Bluff. However, as new challenge to expand our impact bigger, we began to focus on the concept of sweat equity, which we will discuss later. In our history of about 20 years so far, we have made these impacts. With the participation and the support of many people, we have many memories with all projects. In this chapter, I would like to explain how we run this program. I would like to introduce our 8 important concepts. The first concept is education. So this is a learning opportunity to design and build a full-scale work of architecture in collaboration with all of us. The second one is ecology. We focused on eco-friendly and affordable homes through local soil material, recycled materials, less maintenance materials, and available materials. The third one is health. BBB would like to provide a housing as a box, but also inspire the home recipient to have a healthier lifestyle. We believe collecting rainwater is really important here. The fourth one is gathering. Enjoy the outdoors, camping and hiking together, build friendship through the producting of the building project. The fifth is diversity. DBB has invited the students of all kinds into the experience of hands-on education. We are running together and laughing together. The next one is culture. We respect the Native American culture. DBB provides opportunity to learn about the local culture and history through sketch class. Scenery is also another important thing. We got so many good inspirations to make our design really unique. For example, in this photo, we are checking the sunrise on equinox day with local archaeologists. The last one is export. We share information about our work in various ways to improve our programs. We would love to hear your feedback too.
Next, we'd like to spend time speaking about our annual schedule and costs. This is our annual schedule. In March, we start looking for our next home recipient. In the summer, the design studio takes place in Salt Lake City. This year it was online. In the fall, the students move down to Bluff, Utah, where they begin and finish the construction of their project. Here is a basic breakdown of our costs. You can see 70% is funded by the Utah Navajo Trust Fund, and 30% is in-kind donations of materials. The project does not include hookup fees to infrastructure, and generally a homeowner can't apply for these infrastructures until after the home building has been acknowledged. I'd like to spend a little time talking about our sweat equity concept. The concept of sweat equity is one in which the client uses their own labor rather than cash as a form of contribution to the value of their house throughout the building process. We believe this concept will help to empower communities with basic skills, design principles, and experience needed to build for themselves. Our goal is to address issues on Navajo Nation, such as homelessness, overcrowding, lack of infrastructure like water and electricity, and dilapidated housing conditions. Our first sweat equity project grew out of a collaboration with the Denehotso Chapter House. Carmi will explain more about its history.
The Denehotso Chapter Sweat Equity was a proposed project presented in 2013 to assist families on the Navajo Nation. And the families that were targeted were low-income families below 30% poverty level. The Denehotso Chapter Sweat Equity was proposed to bring families back here to the Navajo Nation, those that were living off the reservations to come home, and it was to help create an economic development in jobs and to bring student counts back up at local community schools. And for these families to come home, there was no homes to come to, so there was a form of sweat equity for them to build a home. The Denehotso Chapter Sweat Equity Housing Project had to initiate an application drive to identify participants with a valid home site lease. A home site lease is a land entitlement to build a home within a 1-acre plot, and is designated for 75 years. The homeowner has to acquire clearances such as archaeological, biological, historical preservation, and a survey plot. The result of the application drive was 515 applicants, and 70 of the applicants had a valid home site lease. And many of these that had a valid home site lease were well maintained. They had established homes and they were over the income guideline. With this result, the Denehotso chapter had to refocus and help families obtain a home site lease. In helping these families obtain a home site lease, we were only able to build one home for the Denehotso Chapter Sweat Equity Project, and that was the Project Lone Tree. With the success of Project Lone Tree, We redevelop and reimagine, and I'm proud to present to you NATSILID initiative. We are a nonprofit community development collaborative organization. NATSILID initiative, NATSILID meaning rainbow. Under the rainbow, our mission is to strengthen the culture, economic resilience of the Netka through self-reliance initiative in the built environment.
Our goal with this project is to expand the work of the Untitled Chapter Sweat Equity Project as well as DesignBuildBLUFF to build between 4 to 8 houses per year. For these projects, DesignBuildBLUFF's priority remains student education, experiential learning, experimenting, testing new building methods, pushing limits in design concepts as an incubator for new building models. NATSILID initiatives focus will be on community involvement to build capacity for housing projects and to scale up in the number of homes built per year. We'll be taking the tested elements of DBB's projects and implementing them into a standard replicable building model.
We've completed our business registration in the state of Arizona and will begin the tax exemption application process. Next, we'll be doing community asset mapping, reaching out to general contractors, subcontractors, universities, and schools to understand how we can interact with the community and create a strong board. Perry will talk more about materiality, the 2020 project at DesignBuildBLUFF, and how this plays into our sweat equity model.
One of the most important concepts for sweat equity and DesignBuildBLUFF is the reuse and recycle of material. So the next few slides will go a little bit deeper into that. Here's an example of a repurposed door for a table in one of our projects. Here's another example of repurposed and recycled material in our bathhouse. We use 3-form and recycled brick. 3-form is a popular choice. You can see here we're using it to make a table and also make a wall with our waste. One of the most important concepts for the 2020 project is easily accessible material. So material in standard sizes that you can easily get at the hardware store. And that is because we want it to be accessible to non-experts, non-architects. And also, most of the construction sites are in the middle of nowhere. So we don't have access to heavy duty machines or concrete mixers. So we take that into consideration as well. Earth and material has always been very important to DesignBuildBLUFF. It's a part of the culture and history of the land itself. And it's a way to show the pride of the land. It's also a unique architectural educational experience where you can handle everything from collecting materials to finishing with your own hands, and then also rediscovering the value of familiar materials. Rediscovering techniques and using these earthen materials has helped us connect with our community partners on the Navajo reservation because we have to work together to complete these finishes. Another thing we've really been playing with on our free time is making a natural watercolor palette of the area for sketching. So you can see on the left, we have the natural plaster samples, and these were the samples we presented to our homeowner and community partner. And then on the right, we have that natural watercolor palette. And here are some examples of those two things. These earthen materials really come into an architectural spotlight with sketching and the finishes on the left. Next, we'll go into sustainability for DesignBuildBLUFF and the sweat equity concept. We're trying to reduce energy carried out with things such as rainwater collection and water filtration. and also reducing the energy carried in. So using space efficiency techniques like gathering spaces outside to reduce square footage needed, shading techniques, and lower ceiling. Really trying to be passive with heating and cooling. So insulation, thermal storage, eaves, openings, ventilation. Reducing our carbon footprint also, so construction material transport, trying to be efficient about that, recycling construction material, and trying to really use local production. Another important aspect is really the lifespan of the house, trying to make it last more than 200 years. And that's something that really all architecture should be refocusing. So now it's time to introduce the project for 2020. The name is Four Peaks, and it comes from the shape of the building, which is 4 separate roof lines, but also the sacred mountains in the 4 directions on the Navajo Nation. This is the modular system that the 2020 project is based off of, and you can see that it can really add up to quite a bit of square footage to accommodate multiple family sizes. It can also be rearranged and expanded in multiple ways, and that has a lot to do with how the foundation wall system were designed. And really this module arrangement is for a family of 3. So you can see that you can get 3 rooms out of it, a bath, kitchen, and dining and gathering. So here's an example of how this specific project plans to expand, and this is based on what the family has communicated with us. The expansion model is really important because when homeowners need to expand their homes in the future, they do it themselves. The sweat equity concept includes the ability to learn how to build in order to adapt to that future family growth. The next few slides are videos from this year's project, so we'll just go through and talk about what's been going on and where we're at. So this is us digging the foundation pier holes. Then it was really hard work. This is like the hottest part of our project. It was 100 degrees each day. Oh, I remember this day. This was fun. We wheelbarrowed cement all day, and this was to pour for the foundation. Here's another example of us working in 100-degree heat, setting the CMU blocks in the rebar. So this is us blowing insulation into the floor and then beginning to put the subfloor with the OSB on top of the TGIs and the LVLs. It was an exciting day because we could finally stand on our project. This was the first wall we put up, which fortunately Carmen and her 2 daughters, who are our community partners and homeowners this year, they were able to be there and help put up their first wall. Yeah, this was our presentation to the Utah Navajo Trust Fund and also the kind of like structure framework ceremony we had. Thank you so much for listening. We'd like to open up our time now for question, answer, discussion time.
That was awesome. Thank you guys so much for that video. The audio is great. So yeah, everybody who's in Zoom and on Facebook, if you haven't already started asking your questions, please put them in. And already has come in through Facebook. And that one's from Ray, also a past fellow intern. She was wondering how many houses per year are currently being built.
Now, actually, now we are designing and building just 1 housing per year. But previously, we tried 2 houses in a year, or the maximum we tried 4 houses in a year. But now, kind of like because our program is based on the school semester, so kind of like 1 building is like maximum.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see, we've got another question that came in from one of our semester students, wondering if you could do only one part of the program, the design or the build.
I don't know. We do one or the other.
I think typically people do both.
Yeah.
Have you had one do? I guess for me, like I'm a volunteer builder and I just did the construction part. I didn't do the design semester. So, but I think in general, the grad students do both.
You have to do both in order to get credit for the program, which you choose to do the Design Build Bluff track in the architecture program. So it's sort of like you have to do both to sort of graduate.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this like a schedule. It's make our program very unique. So then same students, they have to design and build for same client or same building. So it's as a schedule wise, it's so tight. It's a really tight schedule. However, it's make them like provide them very unique experience.
Awesome. Another question that's come in is, how do you choose the community partners?
That's also a good question. But now, as in a presentation, as we mentioned, we have like a funding, but we have donor. So we have supporter for funding. So then kind of like with them, it's called the Navajo Utah Trust Funding, or with chapter houses, which is local, like on the Navajo reservation, which is like a local government. Kind of we keep talking about how we can collaborate, who can be the next client or something. So we, our staff, we are talking with these things with locals on a reservation.
Great. We have a question from Britton, the executive director of Yestermorrow, who's tuning in. How many different versions of the current design, the flexible modular layout, will be built ideally? Infinite? Is there a plan for them to be built beyond the university program?
So the current design, the flexible modular layout could be, there's infinite possibilities for it to be built. The current design is only going to be built this one time. And I mean, the idea with the sweat equity and the modular layout and system is that it could be built outside of the university program. And I think that's where like the CDC would come in and use this as a model for other houses outside the University of Utah.
Awesome. We have another comment from Deb, who tuned in on Facebook. It's great to have included the community in Smart Design for volunteers. Would you be able to use additional volunteers for a short term? I teach tiny house design and green construction, and it would be great for my undergrads to work on this for a week or two once COVID is under control.
Yes.
Yes. We need more hands on this. Yeah.
I was going to say, typically there are some groups that come here short term, like a university joins us from Japan for typically 2 weeks. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. And then in general, we have volunteer groups from Salt Lake City that will travel down here for the weekend. So there's lots of opportunity to volunteer and collaborate. We would love that.
Yeah, even like from this town, sometimes the neighbor, they helped us just like a half day work, or like a student parents, or that we have lots of volunteers. So without volunteer work, we can't achieve the goal. So we always need more hands.
So always volunteers. Yes.
Yeah, maybe not about it, but
yeah. Awesome. Let's see. I'm waiting for a few other questions to come in. Everybody ask your questions. I'm curious, who's that in the corner there? Hi.
Hello.
Got some more of your team there. Hi. Do they help also? Do they volunteer on the projects?
They're the mascot of Design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the cheerleaders. Yeah.
That's so great. So I'm curious. From what I know of Design Build Bluff too, that it's always been a partnership with University of Utah, and specifically working with the Navajo Nation. Has there been any conversation with other universities and other architecture programs about identifying opportunities to do this in other areas of the country or the world.
Yeah, many examples.
What was the question? Sorry.
Like, I'm curious, like, if you've been in conversation, or if you could see this
Being practiced in other parts of the world.
being a framework program.
So I think this would be a great question for Carmi, but I think our goal with the CDC is not just to expand the work of DesignBuildBLUFF. Like we want to be building more than one house per year, and we also want to be training a workforce that can continue to contribute to the building of these houses. And then I think a larger goal of the CDC is to really address tribal housing across the country and provide a model and a format for them to replicate. So this idea of this prototype that we could provide plans that different areas could replicate. I don't know of anyone doing that right now, but I'm sure there are people.
Yeah, Carmi, do you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, sure. The other thing that we also want to do is reach out to local universities and colleges here on the Navajo Nation. Many of them have like a building trade program or some kind of building design program, not as much as an architectural and design as DesignBuildBLUFF build, but they do have like a carpentry program where they build homes. And we would like to partner with those universities and colleges here on the Navajo Nation, such as Navajo Technical University and Diné College here on the Navajo Nation. We've also had some other universities local to the Navajo Nation, such as University of Arizona with their renewable energy program. They possibly might want to partner with us in the future about reintroducing an alternative to heating and cooling for the summers. Here on the Navajo Nation, a lot of people rely on wood stoves and coal stoves. So we want to introduce a different type of heating system to our homes, because all of the resources that we used to have like a few years ago are not available or sustainable as we used to have. So those are some other alternative choices that we want to, and we have other community developments or community outreaches that want to collaborate with us on doing other renewable sources and energy development here on the Navajo Nation. And we want to use their programs to be a prototype for future, for the future, in our future bills and stuff like that, that hopefully, you know, the little impacts that we're making now will make a huge result in the future for all of for the whole world, I guess.
That's awesome. It's like you guys are the pebble going into the pond and going to make those ripples stretch far and wide. I like that. We have another question that came in, wondering if you are incorporating building science or any passive house standards or methods into your builds.
I can speak to this year specifically. One of the things that we really focused on was we have a really large south-facing wall. And so on that wall, or that side of the house specifically, the eave is like 4 feet. It's really big. And that was to shade that wall so it wouldn't get super hot. And then also the window placement was, and the amount of windows was an important aspect for the passive heating and cooling. And also even down to, do we have furring strips with our exterior material or not, because it is metal and we want to kind of keep that hot metal off the siding. I can't speak to other projects, but I know that DesignBuildBLUFF does sort of push the students to make those small, seemingly insignificant but very significant choices in their design.
Yeah, and then that things is kind of like based on our material thinking. That's Perry talked in design method. So then typically at here, especially on a reservation, so to get all of resources, that's difficult. And then also to maintenance, it's really difficult to get the person who can maintenance a machine or like a mechanical things. So that's why we are not doing it like active things, but the passive houses. That's kind of like always our choices, like a low maintenance or no maintenance required, or something like that. That's why maybe we can say it's a passive house. However, with this like multiple perspection, we try to be eco-friendly house. We try to design eco-friendly house. So that's we are thinking.
And then one more thing I'd like to mention is with the CDC, a building type that they had been considering in the past was the use of SIP panels. And actually our project last year, the Silver Slice in 2019, used SIP panels. So I don't know if we aim to be Passive House certified, but it's definitely something that I think we're interested in exploring more, other than site orientation and those other design interventions.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you're really taking into consideration, the overall, the final product and the experience of living in it, and the experience of it in relation to the landscape and the community that it's a part of, and holding that as a high standard. And I know for like net zero and other types of houses, it can be very expensive to meet the.
Yeah, that's why in this program, the students
high standards to design. Sorry, gotta love that Vermont internet.
Sorry, so
really quick, Rachel, can I elaborate on that part?
Yeah.
For us, for the Not ELID initiative, for our CDC, for us here on the Navajo Nation, we want to reincorporate the earth-in designs and the traditional designs that we have here on our reservation. And we have the traditional hogan. It's an earth-in wooden structure with mud covering it. And so those are some of the incorporations that we want to continue to elaborate and develop more into. We want to incorporate those into our designs as much as we can, try to keep the natural elements. Like with Project Lone Tree, we did an earthen floor, and a lot of the plastering inside of the home were sand that were from the outside of the structure of the home as well. So we want to keep as much of the natural elements incorporated into our homes. And that's one of the things that we are really happy about. And we want to continue to teach that. And along with it, there's traditional teachings and songs and prayers that go with the earthen materials that we use. And those are some of the things that we want to incorporate into our CDC for Not ELID to continue the Navajo teaching and with the modern technique of architectural engineering for our program.
Awesome. I'm wondering, I know you might get to this towards the end, but I want to highlight it now. Like, what are some ways that people can support this initiative? Like, we have folks from all over the country, and like, how can they support from wherever they may be?
Yeah, so we just set up our website. So I think there is a donate button through the website. We also have an Instagram and a Facebook, and we encourage you to follow us. It's work that's been in progress, like we said, since 2013, and really since this past year has been working towards establishment and our mission and our tax exemption. And so we're really just beginning the process of, trying to harness the community members we already work with and create a very strong board. And so we would love for everyone to be part of that journey through these different social media accounts. And of course, if you want to volunteer, I think DesignBuildBLUFF would have more sort of volunteer opportunities currently, but Carmi, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, we want to also educate the world, that our Navajo teachings and our development in our homes and stuff like that. So we're open to educations, not just to our community, but to extended community. And it's a really unique way to interact with the Navajo Nation and the Navajo people, and to learn from them as well. So we really do encourage volunteers to come and help and get to experience our lifestyle and what we consider sacred is the earth. and for other people to participate and understand our way of living. So we encourage people to participate and volunteer. And of course, we're going to be sharing multiple video or small clips on about what we're doing. And you can follow us on our social media accounts, and you'll definitely get to learn more about us as we continue to grow.
Awesome. Would one of you be able to put the link to the website into the chat box so that folks can get that connected before this ends? And I'll make sure that it's on our Facebook, and when this is recorded and put on YouTube, I'll also make sure that that it's linked there too.
And our social media accounts are under construction right now.
Yeah, that's
but you can definitely follow us, and we'll have more information, more videos and clips to share with everyone.
Perfect. We got another question in from Graham, one of our current Yestermorrow semester students. He's wondering how the design process works for DesignBuildBLUFF. And he's curious how it compares to his fun experience at Yestermorrow.
Maybe, yeah, that question is I can answer first, and then you can answer your experience. But yes, as an instructor, so especially for this year, everything's happened online because it's COVID. So that one is quite challenged. So everything is kind of like it's new. So then, but typically there are students, they design in Salt Lake City, which is 6 hours away from here. So then in the University of Utah campus, they design. And then during the summer semester, during the design semester, they came down a couple of times to meet a client or to do like a site survey. However, so then but basically everything is happened in Salt Lake City. But now I'm thinking, but this year everything goes through online. But still, like we got some advantage from the online design courses, because since we changed it to online, the client, the home recipient, they could attend our design classes. So it's never happened before. So that's why when the students move into here, so they knew each other already. So even this is the first time to meet in person. So they knew already each other, and they are with home recipient, they became a really good one team. So which is really good. So then I'm doing so that's happening, but the schedule is also really tight. So it's all group work. So that's also, it's quite unique challenge for our students. So that's kind of how we did, especially for this summer. But maybe Perry can explain more. Yeah, or feedback to it.
Yeah, so this summer, I think it was really hard at the beginning. Well, it was hard the whole summer to be online, especially with a studio class, because it is such a collaborative process, even your own individual projects. And so a group project is even more so. And I think all of the students were really surprised at how successful the online studio collaboration process was. We designed in Google Slides, which I never thought would be possible, but it is. And then also it was amazing to have that experience and do that, and then come down here and be together finally. And we still have had to design things on the spot, and also late at night after we've been on site all day. And it's truly been it's like living on a commune, kind of, your work is your life, but it's fine. And we're in such a beautiful place that it makes those daily mess ups kind of worth it.
Awesome. I think that's maybe similar to our semester students' experiences, even though they've been doing it all in person. How do you adapt the design as you're building? That's the beauty of design build. You can actually do that and adjust, and not just be well, it's the design, so we're gonna build it, and have all the issues at the end. That's really great. All right, so we can do the chat. I'll make sure that those are also on Facebook, so people can access it there. So if you're watching on Zoom and you don't copy these, you can always tune in on our Facebook page and see the recording and see these links there too. So it's everywhere. All right, we have still a few more minutes left. If there's any final questions, I know I've just really loved learning more about what you have going on out there, and like you're kind of the epitome of redesigning how structures are built and redesigning community, and that feels really exciting to see it happening in this country, especially. And yeah, I want to commend you all for being involved in this and to be doing so much to make these changes that are going to have, I think, long-lasting impacts on a lot of people in the Navajo Nation and outside of it too. So bravo. All right, I don't see any other questions coming in yet. Are there any final things that you want people to know about the program, about Utah, about the Navajo Nation? Just any final things? Oh, I do see a Q&A come in, but John is curious about the infrastructure of the projects, water, septic, etc.
That's great. Yeah, you want to answer that?
Sure. So the things that we can't do with DesignBuildBLUFF is attached to utilities. But actually our community partner Carmen this year is very resourceful. And so she was actually able to get it set up so that connecting to electricity and having plumbing, including getting a water tank installed, she basically kind of took care of it so that when she moves in, she will have running water. That's not typical. Typically it takes, I don't know, Hiroko.
Yeah, a couple years. At least, for example, the water, it will take 3 or 5 years to get to hook the water line. And then the power is quicker. However, when we start the construction, so typically no paved road, no septic, no power line, and no water line. So that's very typical for us. So that's why for construction, we will bring generator every day. And even like when we mixing the concrete, we carry the water from this campus. So that's how we are building the foundation or everything. So it's mean like this infrastructure situation is totally like different with city. So then once the client, like they got the home, they can apply to get infrastructure. So it's mean like once, at least like once we finish the foundation, so they can apply to get to hook up such like utilities. So it is quite different situation. So that's like a very unique point. So that's why like the most of the clients, they are getting used to live without like running water. So maybe Carmi can explain more from her experience or from her lifestyle. But Carmi, can you add more?
Yeah. Yes, here on the Navajo Nation, we have over 250,000 residents on the Navajo Nation within a, I believe it's 27 million acres of land is what the Navajo Nation resides on. And we have 8 grocery stores, and the closest towns we have are about 3 miles for us. I mean, not 3 miles, 3 hours for us to travel to. So we have to travel far for our indemnities. And 80% or 75% of our reservation house, they do have electric, and there's 40% that do have running water. And the running water is very hard for us to get. We can get, for me, I live here in Denahotso, and here in Denahotso, where I live, I don't have running water. I have electric, but I don't have running water. So I have to haul water from our community chapter house, and that's about 5 miles from where I live. And I haul water just for basic domestic use, but for drinking water, I have to buy the bottled waters, and that's very common here on the Navajo Nation. And so that's the type of lifestyle that many of us live here on the reservation, and we don't have the same amenities you would have in a town or a regular town or a city. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, giving the context. I'm sure a lot of folks are imagining building something where they live and how, oh, you just call and they hook it up. And it's not that simple. And, you know, really to highlight that, yeah, there's a lot of, sorry, go ahead, Adrienne.
And I guess I would also say that the project that I worked on last year in 2019 completed in December of last year, and the client only received electric last week. Yeah.
So years later.
Yeah. And then I think the reason why Carmen, our client this year, was able to get electric and plumbing was because she went ahead and built another structure on her site. So you have to have like an acknowledged building before you can apply to get these infrastructure.
Yeah, in her case, she in the current home recipient, they have Hogan. So before we start our construction, so they have Hogan as their ceremonial space. So that's why once they finish the foundation of the Hogan, so they applied it. So the process is a little faster than usual.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
But those are things too, like as students, when we were designing, we had to talk about like if she wasn't able to get water initially or immediately, like how would she, like what kind of toilet would we be using, or like what is the sink situation? Like you definitely, and fortunately for us, we didn't really have to design something different, but those are considerations that previous year students have had to go through because of the difficulty to have utilities.
Yeah, it's a whole new design constraint. We have a question from Steve wondering if septic tanks are eventually installed for treating sewage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I just imagine that might have its own long timeline too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're getting close to 8 o'clock. And I'm so grateful. Thank you for sharing this with us. We're getting a lot of good comments from folks, Graham and our semester students, saying how exciting it is to hear about the school and see the similarities and differences between our two programs, these two design build schools. I know it's been really cool getting to know more about the program, and yeah, I'm really excited to see how it develops. I'm really excited to keep following you guys, and everyone else I'm sure is too. So thank you, everyone. Hiroko.
Yes.
So Perry, Adrienne, come to share this with us.
Yeah, thank you for having us together.
Yeah. All right, and also thank you for being the last one of the speaker series. I think we couldn't have ended with a better presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right. Bye.